Hey guys, Jesse Lang here. You are watching Knowledge is Power. Today's topic will be entrepreneurs, CEOs, and marketing. Alright? So this came to me a couple weeks ago. I had an idea that there seems to be two different types of products and services out there. Those for which there's an obvious need pre-existing. An example would be like oral contraceptive for birth control pills, and then the other one where there's not really an obvious need or service that people want this product or service for, that a company or a person makes it develops or invents something, and then they later on decide they have to market it in order to sell it because the need is not really obvious. This would be like a 3D TV. I don't think people were going, I need a 3D TV. They invented it, and then they had to market it to us why it was good. So I see a distinction between those two types, whether they're entrepreneurs coming up with inventions and new products, new businesses, or whether it's a company or corporation. And they're not going to be clear-cut, but to me there's a difference. So type 1 is that there's a pre-existing need, like oral contraceptive. People want something, a good product or service has not been developed yet that fully addresses it, and once it is made, it is completely just consumed. There doesn't need to be marketing, it's just obvious. Examples of this would be car airbags. Once they were invented, pretty much every car had them. It was an obvious thing. People were hitting their head on the dashboard. Seatbelts were not protecting the upper torso. And so once they were invented, it was pretty obvious that that was going to be something that was going to be employed and utilized by consumers. So that's one type. Another example would be birth control pills or spectacles. I think it was quite evident we had a need for spectacles for hundreds of years, thousands of years, and when Benjamin Franklin made the spectacles, or whoever came up with the lenses and then therefore got translated into glasses the way that we look at them now, that need was obvious well before it was invented. The product did not need marketing. So that's one group. Then you have the other category, like I said, where there's not a real need for the product. 3D TVs, tablets, when they first came out, it was kind of like, why do you even need this? And certain pharmaceuticals, especially in the psychiatric area, where they basically invent a drug and then convince physicians and consumers why they need that drug. In fact, heroin was kind of invented like that. So let me tell you why I feel this is important to me, why I've decided to make a video talking about the distinction between these two types of entrepreneurs or companies. It seems often that in hindsight, people, various individuals in the media and elsewhere, give the value of a person's life, they kind of describe it in terms of how much wealth they had, how many products or services they sold. So, Steve Jobs was influential because he sold 10 billion iPads, etc. And then, person X is more important than person Y because person Y sold 1/10 the amount of products or services the person X did, regardless of the other factors of what kind of product and service person X or person Y were actually providing. It's just looking at the numbers and looking at the profit, looking at the wealth. And I feel it's a very narrow and short-sighted interpretation of the value of that person's life or their contribution. So, let me just talk about two examples, and then maybe this will help illustrate why I feel this is a narrow or short-sighted interpretation. So consider for a moment you're a young woman, you're 18 years old, you're a virgin, you're in a relationship with your boyfriend, your first boyfriend, he's also a virgin, you wish to engage in intercourse for the first time. Neither of you want a child, and he doesn't want to wear condoms, or for whatever reason, they're not working. We understand that guys don't like condoms. That's not a mystery. The need for a birth control pill or a simple birth control solution that will prevent both of you from, having a child is obvious. It's obvious to you, and I don't think anyone had to tell you that you needed that need. No one had to have a commercial advertisement telling you why you don't want to have kids when you're 18. I think at this point, if you're educated or if you're coming from middle class, you want to postpone having a child for at least a certain period of time. So having a product that can fulfill that need that's obvious to millions, if not billions of people across the world that have this need for birth control at some point in their life is a definite value, definite benefit. It's real, it's obvious, it's understandable. I really need birth control. You provided it. That's benefited millions. I think most people would agree that the improvements in terms of women's equality have definitely been a large result of birth control pills. So whether you want to argue it on market terms, it's that we've sold billions of them, in terms of value, in terms of ethics, in terms of allowing women equality, it's a great thing. Then you look at, and it required no marketing, right? This girl never needed to see a TV ad. She never needed a commercial to show her what the birth control pill is or why it's important. She knows it's there. She knows what it does. She generally knows the side effects. It's just understood. Now, you can say marketing through people telling her certainly is marketing, but it's not marketing which they had to pay any money for, and that's kind of different, I think. I think marketing through people's experiences is a different form of marketing than a company spending billions of dollars to purposely try to convince you to buy something. So birth control pills require no marketing. It was a pre-existing need, and once the product was available, it became widespread in use without the need for marketing. Consider a different example, Subway sandwich shops, which were definitely doing well 15 years ago, but not nearly as well as they're doing now. So what changed that? Of course, it was their Jared campaign. And, this guy, average Joe, loses 100 pounds by eating Subway sandwiches. Now, regardless of the accuracy of the story, which there's some truth to it, Subway decides to use this as an advertising campaign and essentially markets it as, hey, you can lose lots of weight by eating Subway sandwiches. And since that ad, they have doubled their sales, over $8.2 billion. So it's been hugely successful. But what's changed? Their product hasn't changed. They're selling the same mediocre sandwich meat, deli, squishy bread garbage that I don't personally enjoy, but I guess a lot of people do. But it really hasn't changed. I think they changed their breads a little bit. Obviously, companies come out with new products here and there, but those past 15 years, since when Jared came out with the advertisement to now, they're really pretty much the same concept, Subway shop. And so it's not the product that's improved, it's that the marketing has convinced people to buy this more now. So people are buying more of something that hasn't really changed. That means it has nothing to do with the value or the quality of the product or the service. It has to do with the marketing. So in essence, I'm basically arguing, yes, marketing works. But we know marketing works. Research shows that marketing works. And of course, companies, evident by how much money they spend on marketing, know that marketing works. So the real world bears it out. The research world bears it out. It's obvious that marketing works. And what is marketing? I mean, essentially, it's a way to promote your product and goods so that your service or product that is going to be consumed more than if you didn't have it. It's convincing people that your product or service has value, has a need that maybe they were unaware of, or is better than other product or services out there that isn't self-evident by just its nature or its use. They need to tell you that it's better. And so they're using techniques, many of which include hyperbole or false claims, or they're kind of often on the cusp of lying to you about what the product does. And it's an attempt to persuade you to buy the product. It's not an attempt to show you the facts or be as completely unbiased as possible, or to show you a balanced appraisal of what it's able to do and benefit your life. It's very biased, and its sole intent really is to sell more product, not to give you the facts. We do have some laws, we do have some regulations that prevent you from directly misleading consumers, but there is a huge leeway there. In addition, we agree that much of marketing is directed towards children, directed towards people with mental disabilities or elderly or people with confusion or dementia. And so their target population is often not the most highly educated, the most highly discriminative, the most highly intelligent. And we understand that these populations, these children and elderly, are vulnerable and they should be protected. And as a result, most countries have certain laws or regulations designed to protect children from the effects of marketing. So obviously you can't advertise cigarettes in a comic book designed for kids because we don't want to promote children smoking. I'm not here to argue that the pros or cons of that. I'm just saying that it's understood they're a vulnerable population that is going to be influenced by this to a large degree, and we want to protect them, and that's what we've been doing. So even if you aren't one of those vulnerable populations, though, you're still affected by marketing. I mean, they show even if you're intelligent and highly educated, you're still going to be influenced by marketing. You're going to be influenced by a scantily clad woman or a hulking male in a vodka commercial, and you're going to drink more vodka. Like, that's just the way it is. Some people are less influenced than others, but no one's free of it. You can think of the McDonald's jingle in a heartbeat. Ba-da-da-da-da is in everyone's consciousness that I'm aware of, at least in America, who has access to media at all, any capacity. And so it gets to us, it infiltrates our brain, it influences our unconscious decisions, and it influences our conscious decisions. So we're all being affected by this. And I think the real problem is that if I gave someone $10 billion, if I gave you $10 billion and said, sell this product, it doesn't matter what the product is. It doesn't matter if it's a skirt for a dog or colored sand in a bottle or a really good automobile. You're going to be able to sell it with a marketing budget of $10 billion. It's just the way it is. So I could essentially, give you crap in a bag, and you can sell crap in a bag if you get $10 billion. You can convince people of all sorts of things. You can make false claims that can't really be disproven or proven. You could advertise to children. You could advertise to the elderly. You could advertise to even intelligent people, convince them it's a great present. It's something different. The aroma is intoxicating. There are stores that already sell certain animal feces in this kind of antique, weird way. I've seen them for sale. I've never purchased them, but people are already selling shit. So it doesn't take too much to figure out you can sell crap in a bag if you give someone $10 billion. The idea that we could sell that to people and they'd buy it, regardless of obviously crap would have you could use for fertilizer, but a small amount in a bag with high dollars attached to it would be essentially worthless to most people. The idea that you can do that with marketing, you can sell crap regardless, just because you have lots of marketing money, suggests that the sales of something, that the worth of a CEO, that the worth of an entrepreneur should not be based on sales, because if you give that entrepreneur enough marketing dollars, they're going to sell anything. So the fact that X number of iPads, the fact that X number of Samsung Galaxy phones have been sold, to me are meaningless, because Samsung has a $10 billion marketing budget, or even sometimes higher for some of their products. Of course they're going to sell them. It doesn't mean that Samsung Galaxy is a better phone than iPod or than the iPhone just because there's more sales. You have to look at the marketing budget. And so I think ultimately, we should think for a second, consider a world where there is no such thing as marketing or advertising, where all products and services are described by either a short video or a write-up by an independent company that is supposedly unbiased, kind of like a Supreme Court in a sense. They write up a small video or explanation of the product or service that simply describes factually what it is, the details, the specifications that you would need to understand what it does and what it's used for. And that would be it. So with a phone, it would tell you all the specifications, what it can do, what it can't, a short video describing it, but it's not full of these verbose adjectives, just a beautiful, gorgeous display. It's just, this is what it does. And so every product and every service is completely on an equal playing field. There's no beautiful women, there's no hulky guys, there's no movie theater trailers to market this product, it's all equal. What would happen in that world? Would you see 3D televisions taking off, or would you, see more practical things that are actually fixing people's lives and making them better? Would you see products like, more efficient cars, more efficient renewable energy resources, more efficacious pharmaceuticals in a world where no marketing existed? I mean, it's just something to think about. And so, I'm not saying that we should get rid of marketing, that we should put huge regulations in place. I'm not anti-capitalistic. I'm not anti-anything. I mean, you could go make your crap in a bag and sell it for $10 billion. That's the free market way. If someone wants to buy it, they've chosen that they like it. I don't have a problem with that. I'm very libertarian. Get your hands off of me, government. So I'm not trying to argue that. I just want people to think about CEOs, that I wanted them to think about entrepreneurs, these people like Elon Musk and Steve Jobs and Sergey Brin. Just think about whether the products and services they're bringing into market, whether there was a pre-existing need for it and the kind of value was almost self-evident, or whether they need billions of dollars of marketing to sell their product and service. And in that marketing, are they convincing people that this product is useful when it may not be? Are they persuading people who don't have the critical evaluation skills to decide whether that marketing is actually accurate or not? Are they convincing children and students to ask their parents or spend their money or go into debt on things that they would never have purchased if it was just laid out in a very logical way? Here's the facts, here's what it is, and someone goes, I don't need that, rather than watching a 2-minute video of this naked woman on a beach, whatever, a guy surrounded by naked women, and then you going, yeah, of course I want that. So that's what I want you to think about, and I want some feedback. Is this distinction completely arbitrary? Is there no distinction out there between the needs and between products and services that fulfill a pre-existing need, and there's kind of like you don't need marketing to sell it, versus those that there may not be a need or very self-evident, and then when they create the product like a 3D television, you have to use all this marketing to try to sell it. That's my question. And I mean, I just want us to be aware of it, thinking about it, evaluating CEOs and entrepreneurs critically, and not just saying, oh, he sold a lot of products and he made money, therefore he's a good entrepreneur. I don't want a world full of junk that I have to be manipulated to buy, personally. I'm not going to go around arguing for legislation or regulation that makes that the case. But I think CEOs and entrepreneurs that create products to fulfill needs, and their sales are predominantly based on their product and development. I mean, the research and development of the product are notably more value to me than a CEO who comes up with some stupid, wristband and then spends millions of dollars marketing why it should be purchased by you. If you want a concrete way of potentially trying to find these companies that fall into Category 1 with a self-evident need versus Category 2 where the need is going to be marketing-based, you might want to look at the percentage of money that they spend on marketing versus their research and development. And ideally, you would want a product where the majority, a product or service, the majority of the money goes into research or development and not marketing, because they're taking the money and effort to put in to make it a better quality product. And if you have a product where the money spent on research and development is this small and the money spent on marketing this big, you got a problem, because they're convincing you with this much money that it's this good of a product. Whereas if you just put the money in research and development, you wouldn't need much marketing because the value would probably be self-evident. So that's my idea. Let me know what you think. Comments or suggestions below. And as always, keep thinking, keep learning, and I'll talk to you next week.